Hello guys, welcome back to another video on the eve of the big Champions League quarter-final against Borussia Dortmund. I am not looking forward to this game at all. Of course, it's the return potentially of Jadon Sancho in the second leg, and before that we've got Mr. Erling Haaland to deal with in a very, very big quarter-final game. So I thought I'd get some opposition thoughts from Josh from JJD TV. Josh, how are you doing today, mate? And thank you for coming on the channel.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm doing well. A little nervous for the upcoming game, but like you and I have talked about, we have nothing to lose. So we're going in there hoping for the best and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, of course, man. Like Josh put his little thoughts in 2 or 3 minutes over on the match preview, so go and watch that. And of course, as well, there's a combined 11, which is interesting, over on Josh's channel as well. So go check that out after this. I must admit, I was being very polite over there, but you see what you all think anyway, but go checking that out anyway. But Josh, I want to chat to you because Dortmund are... they're such a confusing team right now. You look at this Dortmund team, you've got quality all over the pitch, the likes of obviously, I mean, you're not even playing one of your very good right backs. You've got loads of them, but not playing them because of tactical decision, I would guess. You've got your best left back playing in midfield in Guerrero. You've got obviously the likes of Jude Bellingham, a high quality player. Some of the best young talents in world football in Sancho, Haaland, Reina, and so on. But it's been a difficult season. What's going on at Dortmund? What's caused this dip in form? And people don't realise Dortmund are currently sat in 5th after losing 2-1 to their Champions League rivals, Frankfurt, the weekend. 7 points behind with 7 games left. So it's been a tough season for Dortmund. Sacked the coach as well. What's going on, man? What's going on with Dortmund?
I mean, if you would have looked at the team at the beginning of the season, you probably would have ranked them number 2. I did a season predictions. I ranked them number 2. I'm not going to be, too over the top saying we're going to beat Bayern.
Yeah,
but
that's fair, to be honest. It is fair.
This team should be the second best team in the Bundesliga. We've been completely underperforming. Had a lot of set piece issues, a lot of defensive issues, and a lot of it came down to Lucien Favre, who in my opinion was a very stubborn manager. He likes to do things his kind of way, and it ended up biting him in the butt. We ended up sacking him, went for a very inexperienced and Terzic, who's come in, hasn't really steadied the ship, and in my opinion, I don't think he's done much better than Favre did, but at the time, I felt like a change needed to happen. You know how it is with the manager. If something's not going right with the team, you have to do something. Usually sacking the manager is the right thing to do. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to bounce back. We haven't really found a real identity and shape. You'll get the odd solid appearance from some of the players, some of the big boys, and then you'll get absolutely gutted the next night and with a 2-2 draw against Cologne or a 2-1 loss against a team that if we would have won that game against Frankfurt on the weekend, would have been within 1 point of a Champions League spot, put the club in a good position. Instead, wrong decision, wrong tactics, ended up costing us all 3 points, and now we're 7 points out of a top 4. So the season, in all, has just been pretty much a disaster, and a lot of Dortmund fans just kind of want it to end. But the silver lining is we're still in the Champions League, we're still fighting for the cup, and there is still a chance of top 4. So,
yeah, of course, man. Like, I don't think it's fair to say that not getting the top 4 would be a disaster for Dortmund. I mean, have you read anything from your side or heard anything from your side about the potential ramifications of Dortmund not being in the Champions League? Would it be as catastrophic as it looks from the outside for the club?
Yeah, absolutely. From everything I read, and again, guys, I'm not an expert on it. This is from what I read. Haven't talked to the club, but I was going to do a video kind of talking about what a squad would look like. For example, a starting 11 in a Europa League versus Champions League, because I think 2 big players come to mind, and that's Sancho, that's Haaland, and I don't know if we can keep him here if we don't get Champions League, on top of the fact that we missed out on roughly 75 million. So that's huge in itself from not being in the Champions League, on top of the fact that players who are looking to go to the next level may opt to leave now if there's no Champions League football keeping them there.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, 75 million. And then, of course, it lessens your hand for any potential exit fees as well, I guess, of course. And I guess as well, the 75 million is huge given, I guess it pushes, it really forces Dortmund's hand, given the fact that everyone knows Haaland's got that release fee clause for the season after, So that losing that potential money this season from a Haaland fee, you can't really afford to wait for next year then, can you really? Because you'd be losing 75 million maybe from a transfer fee 1 year, as well as then the similar amount again for the Champions League. So it essentially forces you to sell Haaland this summer, doesn't it?
I mean, you'd think. I love to put my take on it because, in my opinion, my take doesn't mean anything because I don't know. I hear different reports each and every day of the fact that, and it makes sense. If you're a club like Dortmund, it's a bad look on the club to lose both Sancho and Haaland in the next year. But like you said, if no Champions League football, it might force your hand. I personally think that the board has made it very clear that if a Sancho offer comes in, they may be willing to sell, but they've made it also very clear that they're not willing to sell Haaland. Now, we've seen the media ploy by Mino over there and Haaland's father going on a little worldwide tour. So Anyone's bet to see what's going to happen. But in my opinion, from Dortmund's perspective, they want to keep one of the two stars. But if they don't get Champions League, that might not happen.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you definitely want to, but I guess from my cynical perspective, looking out from the outside in, we've heard this before from Dortmund. You know, we've heard it before, and we've seen it. And then we saw Aubameyang won't be sold, and a month later he's at Arsenal, and and then same with Bailey. And of course, we did it with Sancho last year. To be fair to years, and there's always room for a change. But at the end of the day, there's barely a club in the world that would turn down losing potentially 75 to, especially if you lose the Champions League as well, 75 million extra 1 year or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be difficult. I mean, what do you expect as realistically as a Dortmund fan to happen with Haaland? I know we're talking about the Champions League game soon, and we will get onto that, but we can't sit here with a Dortmund and City fan talking and not mention Haaland, because he is the elephant in the room, a big, brutal Norwegian beast of an elephant in the room, but still he's the talking point of this game, and there's a reason Guardiola was asked in the press conference about him, and of course we've seen, Mino's world tour. What's your feeling about what happened with Haaland come the summer? Where do you think will he stay, or if he does go, where do you think he'll end up going to?
Well, I mean, I've been a fan. I followed this club since I was 10. I mean, I've seen pretty much everything. This following Borussia Dortmund is a roller coaster ride, especially with transfers. There's a revolving door, seems to be, of strikers. So I like to take a realistic approach. I'm not gonna say hey, he's not leaving. I'm not that stubborn. I mean, I'm pretty persuasive. If you give me facts that point to a certain direction, I'm going to do it. I'm not a big fan of what happened with his father and Mino going on that tour and basically shopping him out, which in my opinion was before the most important game of the season.
Yeah, that's crass, isn't it? Yeah.
It wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look, and we've seen it before. You put up 2 excellent points with Aubameyang and Dembele, both of the 2 players who I was big fans of, and especially Aubameyang. He was one of my favorite strikers, and I still think he has got a place in my heart, but they left the club in ugly ways, and now a lot of fans of Dortmund don't look at them the same. And this is giving me kind of flashbacks of that, seeing the way that they're broadly going out there and making sure it's so publicized, the fact that they're going around and being like, "Do you want him? What's your package look like?" And they're doing that, and it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Haaland. So that tells me in itself that if we don't get Champions League, there's going to be offers on the table. There's going to be package deals, and there's going to be something that probably puts them at the door. So, in my honest opinion, if we don't get Champions League football, I'd say there's probably 90% chance that Haaland leaves. And I always said that City's probably the front runners. Guardiola had a couple of comments on that, saying that that's not true, but it's part of the media, man. It's hard to know what to believe. I mean, why?
Yeah, he's playing the game.
I don't know,
man. Well, I hope, for my sake, you're right, and he does go. But obviously, I wanted to see Manchester City. But it doesn't really stop there, does it? I mean, you're not short of talents. You've got the young lad Makuka coming through, who looks a very exciting talent as well. And you do seem to find these young players from nowhere. Obviously, Haaland was the latest one. Before that was Sancho. Reina has had a bit of a breakout as well, even though his form's been up and down a little bit recently from what I've read. You've got Jude Bellingham as well, who's shown immense amounts of potential given his age. You do find these young players. What is it? I mean, how does it feel like? And once again, I'm trying to be really respectful here. But how does it feel? Because you are seen, I guess, for some of these young players as a relative stepping stone club, and that's not unfair. I mean, we just know that. Is it tough from your perspective to get close to these players? And sometimes, because I know it's like, I've supported Man City when we were much smaller than Dortmund, much smaller. I've seen Man City lose some of their best players, when we were a vastly lesser team than Dortmund are now. But despite Dortmund being a really big club still, they are very much a shop window at times. And does it make it tough to get attached to these players? Do you feel like an cynicism when they sign one? And is there a reaction amongst the fans that they'll be gone in 2 years anyway? How does it feel?
Like I said, man, and I talk about this on Twitter with some of our other Dortmund supporters. Supporting Dortmund is literally a roller coaster ride, and especially for those reasons, is that you don't know how long some of these players are going to come in, and you've seen some teams that have players come in and they end up staying a little bit longer. Guerrero's a great example. He's been here for a while. I think he truly loves the club. And then you see players who, like Dembele, who's a perfect example, came in for one season and arguably should have stayed longer for his own development. And he was kind of selfish, wanted out, saw the big money move, took it, and took him a while to finally get his career back on track. So it is annoying sometimes with some of these younger players. And I think hopefully some of them will start realizing that, and just because Dortmund's maybe, if you want to look at it as a stepping stone, but some like Gio Reyna, for example, I really think he loves this club. I think he wants to be here. He signed a long-term contract. He's someone who I might go out there and get a jersey of. I do genuinely feel that he may be here for 4 or 5 years, and I think it's good for him. He's 18. He's not even starting right now.
He doesn't need to go anywhere. He's a baby.
He absolutely doesn't. But at the same time, I think the club in recent seasons, after we almost won the season on a very unexpected season in 2019, we went out and signed the likes of Schultz. We re-signed Hummels. We signed Brandt. We signed Hazard. We made real attempt to kind of challenge without selling players. And then, like you mentioned, we didn't sell Sancho last year. So I do think that there's a positive movement from the board and not basically flipping these players. But in a COVID-stricken season, and if you miss out on Champions League, I wouldn't hold it against the club if you have to make some of those big decisions and see some of these players leave. Because it's and if we don't get top 4, it's on us. That's just as simple as it is. The saving grace is that Haaland's been sensational. It's the only reason we have any shot at winning anything. And coming into the City game, like I said, I mean, I'm not going out there saying, Stephen, we are favorites, my man. We are taking you down. It's as easy as it is. It's not true, but we've talked about it a few times. City's known to have some trouble in the Champions League, and we're a Dortmund squad that should be going into this match with absolutely nothing to lose. What
would you say Dortmund's current biggest weakness is? And I guess on the flip reverse of that, is there anything Manchester City should potentially fear, in terms of your strengths at the moment?
Our biggest weakness by far is the back line. A lot of times they're kind of all over the place, poor marking, too many through balls are too easy for some of the players, mental mistakes, and set pieces have been brutal. And seeing the likes of Kevin De Bruyne whip in some free kicks at any destination on that pitch is going to make me a little bit worried. But like, again, the one saving grace is that it takes one good performance. I've seen the boys put up some pretty decent defensive efforts, and if they can do it on the day and find a way to shut down some of your big boys, and Haaland needs one chance. He needs one opportunity to go in on goal, and it could just get into the mental state of Manchester City and have some flashbacks of that Lyon performance. So
the thing is as well, you were good against Sevilla. Like, obviously, as Pep said in the press conference, they are the cup specialists, aren't they? Really? It must be frustrating, obviously, seeing that level, beating the team like Sevilla, getting through in a cracking tie as well, for what it's worth, loads of goals and all that kind of stuff. But then watching you, I guess, drop points against Cole, and then obviously losing against Dortmund. I mean, I guess that what makes it nervous from my perspective. You're such an up and down team, like from the sublime to the ridiculous straight away. But that must also give you confidence in some way, because you've shown that you can beat good teams in the Champions League, and you definitely have the players. You've got a player in Haaland, of course, who has that big game mentality, who he's the exact kind of player who loves a narrative in the way that Ronaldo does, who will score a game and try to drag a team through it. So there is reasons for you to feel confident, because you do have the individual quality on the day. One thing I want to talk about briefly, actually, is Bellingham. Like, he obviously caused a lot of headlines when he joined. How have you rated his season so far?
I think Jude's been fantastic. I mean, I was hoping, and this is no disrespect to Jude and to Birmingham City when signing, but I was hoping he wasn't going to just jump right into the starting 11, grabbing someone from the Championship, having him come into the starting 11 of Borussia Dortmund. I don't know. At 17, it just seemed a little bit off, but he completely shut me up because he came in here and you could tell that he's going to be quite the baller someday. He's got great football IQ. He was able to kind of make a nice little partnership with Delaney. I thought they both kind of complement each other well. And now our best midfield three by far is, ever since we changed shape to the 4-3-2-1, has been Delaney kind of playing as that natural number 6 just above the back four, with really Jude and Dahoud having freedom to go forward. The biggest thing that's impressed me about Bellingham is his pressing game. He's got an engine that just doesn't stop. He wins the ball back constantly. And I think if he can stay here for 2-3 seasons, he'll just keep getting better and better and better, and it'll be great for his game instead of making kind of that selfish jump and trying to force your way into a team maybe when you're not quite ready. But that's just someone who's watched it over and over from Dortmund.
I love the view of selfishness as if it's just not ambition. It's generally interesting to hear you say, but it's like it's interesting. No, I'm not saying you're wrong for what it's worth. I just say it's isn't it, because I've been on that side as well, and it's interesting to see that. Like, but I guess it's selfish if it doesn't work, and it's confidence if it does work. I guess it's one of those things. But I do think Bellingham and Reina, they shouldn't go anywhere for a while. And I like what I've seen of Bellingham. This is a controversial take, but I can imagine his game developing into a very similar way to Fernandinho personally. All action, all energy, complete midfielder. And I wouldn't be surprised if he has a very high quality career because he's a good player. But finally, man, what kind of lineup can we suspect from Dortmund? And I have to give some kind of prediction, at least for the first leg from you, if that's all right, mate.
Oh God. Oh yeah. And just to touch on the selfishness, because maybe that wasn't the right word, but the
no, it's
point I was
interesting.
trying.
It's an honest word, I would say. It's an honest word because
Yeah.
you're a fan, and that's the point. But go on, carry on.
But yeah, but I didn't mean to say that you would be selfish if you want to move on. I just meant that a lot of youngsters get their heads turned at some big wages thrown at them from Barcelona, from City, from whoever it may be, and they're like, all right, well, I'm going to take the risk, and then they don't ever break into that team, and it just sets them back. So ambition, yes, to maybe move on, but selfishness in kind of a way where they're seeing the money, they're not seeing the project in front of them as growing as a player. But yeah, okay. So for a starting 11, I think we're pretty confident you're going to see a 4-3-2-1.
Okay.
We've seen it a lot. Two different shapes Dortmund play. They play a 4-2-3-1 or they play a 4-3-2-1, and it depends on who the opposition is. If they're playing someone in the lower half of the table, you see a 4-2-3-1 because they have a lot of possession. They basically don't really need to worry about that midfield. They know that they have a little more attacking presence. But when they play the likes of Bayern, even Leverkusen, Leipzig, they revert back to the 4-3-2-1, stack up the midfield. Because they expect that the possession is going to be a little bit more. Going into this match, there's no way that they're going to line up with that two-man midfield. It's going to be the three I was talking about of Delaney, Jude, and Dahoud. And then they're going to hope that they can shut down City that way, break up the midfield, and then hit the front three. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but even when they play in the 4-2-3-1, we don't have a natural set of wingers. So we've had Gio or Brandt playing along on that right-hand side who've been relatively ineffective. So having a front three of Haaland, probably Royce, and it would be Sancho, but it'll probably be Hazard. They're going to just hope that they can break up and hit on the counter, and hopefully Haaland can do what Haaland does and nick a goal here and there.
I hope you're wrong. I hate to do it, man, but what would you say? Have you got a prediction for the first leg at very least, man?
You're gonna ask me for a prediction. Just like,
you don't. I mean, you don't have to give it if you don't want to, man. But I guess there's a heart and a head one, really, isn't there? There's two different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I like to analyze the game, and I like to be very truthful. And I also often lie in my predictions because why not? I always want to show the faith and love when going into games. It doesn't matter if we're going up against Bayern. It's like we're gonna win it. We're gonna win, and we very well may. But I'll put a draw. Why not? That way, I'm not leaning either direction. I think if anything, that's probably what Dortmund should play for. Just defend, and
a
pray
goal
that
would be
huge.
Huge. A goal for you guys would be huge, yeah.
1-1 draw would be huge.
Then we got, away leg then all of a sudden for us. And I think as a draw for you guys would be brilliant, simply because it would make Man City nervous, given the history in the Champions League and all that kind of stuff. And it makes City fans nervous, and that would project, then it would just be nervous, put it that way. And there'd be a lot for you to feel confident about, because a draw would be seen for Man City as a bad result. Even though it would be terrible, it would be seen as a bad result. But Josh, thank you, man. It's genuinely fascinating. Go check out Josh's channel, JJD TV, over. There'll be a link in the description right now on screen and all that kind of stuff. So go subscribe to his channel. It's absolutely awesome. And we did a combined 11, which was definitely fun over there as well. Josh, thank you so much, man. And good luck. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me on. It was a pleasure. Good conversation. Combined 11 one was an interesting one, but hopefully you guys enjoy that. And yeah, I guess may the best team win, or the luckiest team win.
Guys, catch you very, very soon. In a bit.